Hideki Tojo was born in Tokyo on December 30th, 1884. He was the eldest son in a family of samurai descent. He closely followed his father's footsteps by entering the military school in 1899 and graduated in 1915 with an honors from the Army War College. He later became to be known as Kamisori, or the Razor, for his sharp, decisive, and impatient qualities that manifested as he rose rapidly through the military's hierarchy until he became chief of staff of the Kwantung Army, where he worked effectively to strengthen Manchuria's economy and military readiness in event of war with the Soviet Union. When tensions between China and Japan were at a high, Tojo had his first experience with two brigades in a blitzkrieg that quickly brought the whole of Inner Mongolia under Japanese control in 1938. October 1941, Tojo was believed to have the knowledge to control Japanese army. Tojo was given an imperial command to wipe the slate clean and to review past decisions and work for peace, but since that was too rational for him, they decided to go to war with the United States. Within hours of the attack on Pearl Harbor, Tojo broadcasted to his people that to annihilate the enemy and to establish a new order in East Asia, the nation must necessarily anticipate a long war. He was often compared to Hitler and Mussolini. Even though he wasn't a dictator, he was just as crazy and war-hungry. His quick rise to power in the beginning of the war quickly fell when America started winning. At the end of the war, Tojo awaited his arrest on September 11, 1945, and he attempted to shoot himself. After his recovery, he was held in prison during his trial of war crimes for 2 years until 1948. After that, he was sentenced to death by hanging.
The Battle of Iwo Jima was in 1944. In defense of the island was Lieutenant General Tadamachi Kurabayashi. He had numerous of hidden artillery and mortar positions along with landmines all over the island. He created a strong, mutually supporting defense using heavy weapons such as machine guns and artillery. His armored tanks were used as camouflage artillery positions, which blocked some of the entrances into tunnels. Numerous Japanese snipers and camouflage machine guns positions were also set up, and the kamikaze pilots were used against the enemy fleets. The Imperial Japanese Army positions on the island were heavily fortified, a dense network of bunkers, hidden artillery positions, and included an 18-kilometer of underground tunnels. The defeat was assumed at the start because the Americans had control of the air, Japanese had little food and supplies. Finally, on March 26, 1945, the U.S. had captured the island and the 3 Japanese-controlled airfields. The U.S. wanted to build the airfields to launch bombing raids against Japan that was only 660 miles away. The Japanese combat deaths were numbered 3 times the number of American deaths. Of the 21,000 Japanese soldiers, only 216 were taken as prisoners. The majority of the remainder were killed in action. It has been estimated that 3,000 continued to resist within the various cave systems for many days or weeks afterwards, but they eventually came out because of their injuries or they were just surrendering.
During World War II, the United States would almost always depict the Japanese in a highly offensive way by over-exaggerating their unique features. They would exaggerate the canine teeth, making them extra pointy, give them huge buck teeth, overly squinted eyes, glasses, and very pointed ears, making them look quite sinister. In doing this, the propaganda becomes more satirical and can also become more fearful to some. They would also make fun of the way the Japanese spoke. In the particular piece of propaganda, the United States is stressing the urge to conserve all materials, especially paper ones. They are using a bloody knife to strike some fear to get their point across, and basically saying if you don't conserve the materials, the Japanese will in turn have more of an advantage to winning the war. In this next piece of propaganda, we can see Japanese commander Hideki Tojo represented in the same highly offensive way, with the over-pointed and buck teeth, squinted eyes, and yellow skin, and slightly crooked features. They also are making fun of the Japanese speech. In World War II, perfect attendance in the workplace was highly stressed by the United States, as missing work resulted in loss of man-hours, which made less money for the military. In this piece of propaganda, the importance of showing up to work is stressed. The United States is saying if you don't show up to work, you will be making Tojo very happy, and again, giving the Japanese more of an advantage to winning the war. He is also congratulating the person skipping work, making the U.S. citizen feel guilty.
In 1880, Japanese were starting to immigrate from Japan. They were nicknamed Yellow Peril, showing that they were a threat to white society. After Pearl Harbor, the United States government mass-produced propaganda posters showing Japanese as devil-like creatures. There was then a decision to lock up all Japanese on the West Coast in 1942. The government used race as a way to prove how untrustworthy they were. In addition to the mean faces, these propaganda posters would show Japanese wanting bad things to happen to Americans, such as car accidents, or showing a mischievous-looking Jap saying, "Go ahead, please, take day off," showing that they are waiting for you to take your day off so they can take over. Jap trap refers to throwing Japanese in jails, convincing you that it will conserve material.